This is Dating with Reptar, and I am Reptar. And if you don't follow me already on Instagram, I am on Reptar _ Love Jones, R3PTAR _ LOVEJONEZ 2. And we are on YouTube. Search, which is Dating with Reptar. We are on Facebook at Dating with Reptar. And I'm also on a wrestling podcast, Family Time Podcast for Wrestling. To our special guest today, hey friend, please state your name, age, and occupation for the fans.
My name is Ryan, but in the lifestyle, I go by Papa Osiris. I am 33 years old. During the day, I'm a social therapist for foster children, and I am a professional dominant in BDSM.
I saw you had your anniversary the other day. That was cute.
Yeah. This past weekend. Oh, and for those who don't know, anniversary is the anniversary of me collaring my submissive 3 years.
Yeah, I was like, dang, it's been that long. I remember when you first started.
I've been in BDSM since like 2017. Yeah, I am not an expert. I am just somebody that lives in this lifestyle, in this world.
Right.
Relationship style, love style thing. No, but I want people to know that.
Of course, we love disclaimers.
My own experiences, as well as, I have learned and, done some work, but I am not an expert. I'm not one of the, there's a bunch of friends that are legit like on scholarly articles and type shit for polyamory and shit. They are experts. I am just somebody that lives in it and advocates for people being their genuine selves.
Your zodiac big three.
My sun is Gemini, my moon is Virgo, and my rising is Capricorn.
Location.
I'm from Brooklyn. I'm from the Sty. I currently reside in the Bronx, but I'm moving back to Brooklyn soon. So, yeah.
Are you really?
Yep.
Oh, my God. We can hang out now.
Ridiculous. Yo, people really do not like coming to the Bronx. It's really some crazy shit. Like, I didn't think it was going to be that crazy, but it really is. Niggas be like, nah, I'm good.
Nah,
Bronx. Awesome.
That shit's crazy. That shit's really crazy. Like,
nah.
Niggas can't do it. But the good thing is it says Slim on his name, are from the same place. You both are from the Sty.
Born and raised from the Sty.
What is the difference between polygamy and polyamory?
All right. So polygamy is the overarching umbrella for all poly, whatever suffix at the end. Polygamy is the overarching thing for polygyny and polyandry. And the difference is between polygyny, polyandry, and polyamory. Polygyny and polyandry are actually legal marriages. Polyamory just means many loves. So, because majority of the world is only I think 4 or 5 places in the entire world is different forms of polygamy actually legal. Not 4 or 5 places, but very few places in the world are actually where polygamy, forms of very short polygamy is actually legal. So the main difference literally is just one is marriages and the other one is not. So polyamory is not marriage. Yeah. So in polygyny, off the top of my head, I can't remember which one is which. Polygyny, polyandry. I believe polygyny is basically the quote unquote poster child one of a nigga and multiple wives. And polyandry is a nigga and multiple wives.
Nigga and multiple wives is crazy.
And polyandry is shorty multiple husbands.
Right. That's funny as shit. The nigga though is crazy.
Hey.
Yeah,
I'm still New York nigga at the end of the day. So I'm gonna speak candidly in my unique voice. You feel me?
Ain't much for me to say. I've always been interested to know what's the difference. It's almost like
that's literally the only difference.
It's like being in the plus community, because that's going to be next. Like understanding what that looks like and what that looks like for dating purposes too, because this is all part of dating purposes. A man is most likely to be in polygyny than a woman in polyandry. True or false, and why?
So true, and it's a very layered answer because there's multiple reasons why.
Fair.
So we can go for one overall. So first, it's illegal in most places, like I said before.
Right.
So that kind of deters that because it's illegal for stupid reasons, but whatever. It's stupid because why? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's literally that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day about social structures and how these people don't want us to succeed and be great. So,
that makes sense.
and also majority of cultures in the world are very patriarchal or like centered around men.
Mm-hmm.
So it's acceptable. So say hypothetically, if it was illegal for both, it will still be frowned upon for a woman to have multiple husbands more than a man is.
Double standard.
Double standards, a lot of patriarchal nonsense, and also a lot of men, not all men, but a good number of men have egos when it comes to. So I'll explain this. So this is one of my issues with the way that monogamy is taught. Is because the way that monogamy is taught is entitlement and ownership. Like, oh, that's mine, that's my property, nobody can touch that, things like that. So a lot of times women are more flexible when it comes to not having that kind of concrete ideal or mindset than men are.
Right.
And so that would be another reason that, polygyny would happen more than polyandry would happen. Even when you look at on social media, poly couples are like the new. It's even though it's been around the same amount of time as relationships. Been around for general relationships were wherever they wanted to be. It was societal things that made certain hard, rigid ideas and structures of what relationships should be. Now, of course, it was social media, a whole bunch of things. Poly is a cool thing now.
Right.
Now. And so a lot of times you'll see men with like two girlfriends and that's what they want, and they kind of it's overrated what they do, like, oh, it's a man, two women thing. But then if one of those girlfriends or one of those quote unquote wives wants to have another another partner, add a boyfriend in, then it's like, oh, nah, you get what I'm saying? Like, or they can't, or even if
kicks in.
Exactly. Or even if it's not like romantically being with somebody else, even the sexual aspect too, it's like, oh no, the guy can go fuck other shorties, but the girl cannot, or the woman cannot. And so it's like, again, double standards, ego, and just a whole bunch of like patriarchal nonsense.
Basically. Yeah.
The way I see it, if I would get married to two women, the purpose of that would be to create a large family. Not just because I want to fuck two women. Specifically, I can get two women pregnant at the same time, but a woman can only get pregnant once. So the purpose of her having two boyfriends sounds more like strictly a sexual thing, and then it becomes more of a financial, if that's the case. If she wants to stay home and y'all all have that aspect, I get if that's the concept. But if it's a process of creating a large family, I would, or even if it's 1 and 1, instead of me putting two children on her body and making her her feeling one way, and then I do one, we all get to get boom, and then after she's had her baby, she had our child and whatnot, then the other one. I could see that working in some sort, but I don't see the actual practical reason for one woman to have two boyfriends unless it's strictly, once again, a financial thing. Like, you guys are making secure like financial decisions and whatnot. Cool. Or it's strictly sexual. And I don't mean that to
standard.
Maybe
that's what it is.
I get that, but it's actually practical in a sense of reasoning to me. That seems like a reasonable.
And that's
that
fair.
Sounds reasonable.
I understand exactly what you were saying, and that's exactly where the double standards come in. Because then I could say to you, saying, well, what's with the two women? Is it financial or practical?
Once again, if I said that it's a situation of me wanting to create a larger family,
But
and
then
I'm
I want to
actually
create a family
able.
with 2 men.
Okay, but you can only get pregnant once.
But still, oh, but no, that well. In studies, I can have 2 sperm and have 2 babies at the same time from
Okay.
3 different men.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
that's body and science and biology. That's another story for another day.
That's also kind of like a mindset that a lot of people have. Mindset is one of the issues that a lot of women have when it comes to dating men. And I'm going to tell you why that is because now it's like, okay, she's a baby maker. That's the practical purposes is to have babies when you can literally, there's one woman that has, you can see all the time that has 10, 11, 12 kids with the same person. So
Very
again,
true. Very true.
yeah,
I'm not denying that.
Mhm.
I am the
Disclaimer.
one woman man kind of situation.
Oh no, that's fine.
That is
That's
me.
fine.
Oh no,
Now,
that's fine.
if
This is
she
not.
happens to be bi and she wants to try to have, that's your decision. You decide you want to open that up, fine. But I'm not. I'm not throwing that on the table. I prefer me and her be together, and that's it. I don't like a headache, and I can't deal with 2 women at the same fucking time. I know I can't.
And look, and
He
I
said that
love
on multiple occasions, so I know that's true.
look, I
Yeah.
love when people know themselves. Like I said, I don't ever knock monogamy as long as you vet your relationship in the right way and are in it for the right reasons. You get what I'm saying? And you actually look for qualities, not just because of what we're fed, the idea of success, but the idea of okay, this partner that you and your partner actually complement each other in different ways and help each other in different ways, you know? So I have no problem with that. And of course, I was not saying that this is something that you do or anything like that. I was just addressing that the whole baby maker thing is because, okay, boom, there's a lot of women who can't have kids, who are born biological women, can't have kids for whatever reason. You get what I'm saying? But then this ties into the misconception about poly. And another thing is that it's sexual. No, there's people who are asexuals, people who don't have any sexual attraction, but still like intimacy with somebody else. You know what I'm saying? The romantic intimacy and not the sexual intimacy. And that's another thing is like a lot of people have the purpose of marriage for a lot of people is to get somebody pregnant when that doesn't necessarily have to be the case. I mean, I'm not saying the sole purpose. I'm saying that a lot of things as like, I'm not having kids until I'm married, this, that, and the third, but a woman can easily love 2 people at once and it not just be about sex. You know what I'm saying? And the practical reason is because they love somebody else. Like, for example, if you, there's all different types of love. And this is when going back into what I was saying about my issues with monogamy. One of the other things that I have as an issue with monogamy is the way that it emphasizes that, your significant other is the end all be all. You get what I'm saying? Like your significant other is the main person, the one you're supposed to fight life with. This and the third, when there's familial love and your friendship love that sometimes can be just as important or just as enriching and fulfilling to to your life. Say like practical kind of. Again, one woman can make a big family. So and that goes into one of the myths of poly is that they want to fuck other people. No, is they the same way you love multiple family members, you love your mother and your dad, you love your cousins, you have best friends, some best friends that are not blood relatives that you love, and sometimes they have a very important role, important part in your life. You get what I'm saying? So why can't your romantic love be shared between more than one person?
I get where you coming from. Like I said, there's different, there's different strokes with different folks. Like I said, I was saying for me personally, I've been blessed to have been raised with both my parents all my life. I've seen what it's like to work through everything, no matter what. I can only go based off of what I've seen. I know that it's not always going to be sparkling rainbows and all that shit. I know that. Sure, fact. But if for me, I know there's one person that I would want to commit to, or I would want to be with myself. I can't speak for everybody else. The only thing, that's why I'm here listening to the topic, is not because I'm necessarily like, this is what I believe in. No, I'm just trying to see it from, let's say, more of a scientific standpoint. Consider this as a research, because me personally, I'm the I've always been with one woman. Now, if she decides that she wants to step, she want to go have some fun somewhere else, that's on you. But I'm gonna just disappear and you will go have your fun, kind of thing. I'm not that guy. If we talking about a one-off, you having another woman, that's what you decide you want to do, and you want to bring her in, you can do that. I'm with that. But I am not personally not going to be cool with her having sex with another man. That's not going to be something that I would personally be like, I can be okay with that shit, or or get off of that. No shame or nothing like that. I ain't throwing nothing towards nobody who does. You feel me? I'm just saying that wasn't something that I can say turned with me. But it is definitely like, let alone, I'm keeping it back. This is TMI probably. I can't even watch straight porn. Like, it's got to be two women type shit. I am that guy. I can't. If I see another dick, I'm done. I don't even want to be. So to know that you fucking with another man is going to throw me all the way the fuck off. I can't do it. So that's why I'm like, yo, this is interesting as shit.
When stuff is not, when you're not exposed to certain things, or even like the dominant culture of the time, does it subscribe to whatever ways that, lifestyles or love styles, relationship styles that are not, like a mainstream thing, then of course a lot of people, you're not gonna know. Now the science, we can go to the history, you get what I'm saying? Like, monogamy is even just the idea of monogamy being the right thing is a much newer idea in human civilization. If you go back, like, there was no like, oh, I can only be with one person. No, it was, you're gonna be with whoever. You get what I'm saying? Like, the Abrahamic religions really only date back to like the hundreds of BC. You get what I'm saying? There were things that predate Christianity, Judaism, and Islam.
Trojans,
yeah, exactly.
Of course. Yeah.
There's a bunch of things. So, but then, even then, there was poly. There was a lot of different things that was just normal, because it's like, okay, we just like, and we're building a family. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So even to this day, like, even though there's a lot more polygyny than polyandry, there's a spot in Asia, in like a part of Asia, where a woman has multiple husbands, and that's a normal thing they practice for thousands of years, and it's regular. The way you grow up in kind of like shapes your world, and sometimes if you don't try to think outside, like, don't try to think about things, there are alternatives. It still may not be for you, but at least accepting that, okay, my way is not necessarily the right way. There's no really right way, as long as people are safe, happy, and doing things for the right reasons. I'm saying, even for me, like, I had to go out and learn and talk to people and meet people, and you know what I'm saying, like, right. Because again, it's not something that you just see and that is just normal. That's quote unquote normal.
Throuple or triad is the most common poly relationship. True or false, and why?
False. It is the most, like, what's it called? Like, again, back to the fad thing. It's the most fad type of thing. Like, but that's not the limits of poly. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's still kind of going off the reason why it's popular, because it's still going off the thing of like, oh, we're bringing a third into our relationship majority of the time when it comes to those type of ideas. There are some people that are generally thruples or triads that are generally like, we are all connected to each other. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times it's like, oh, I'm married, a monogamous couple, and they're like, oh, let's bring a girlfriend in. And then even then they're like, oh no, but we can't bring a boyfriend in, or something like that. And also, this goes into another thing we talked about, the myths about the gay thing earlier. There are people who are in triads. So a triad, like you said, throuple is like a triangle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, basically triad. They gave me both.
But exactly. So there can be triangles where if it's a one woman and two men, the men are not sexually intimate. You do not have to be gay
to do
or be attracted to men. And same thing with women. There's women who are in poly dynamics where there's no like there's no real romantic, like they don't even kiss, you know what I'm saying? There's no anything between besides like almost like just a family support and love for the most part. And that's one of the main points of poly is not about it's mostly about love. Of course, people have just like monogamous marriage, things like finances and stability, things like that, which all can come from a good sound dynamic, but it's love at the end of the day,
Basically.
and people shouldn't have to limit who they love in the way that they love them as long as everything's consensual, everything's healthy, and everything is supportive.
Basically, so we gotta write contracts now.
Hey,
It floats your boat. If it floats your boat.
As a special guest on the show, which part of the poly relationships is a goal for you? Does it include everyone touching each other, or is it more so polyfidelity?
I am what you call a relationship anarchist.
Oh,
So,
shing,
relationship
shing.
anarchy. So, it's a misconception that anarchy means like, oh, you just don't say fuck relationships. No. Relationship anarchist was, okay, so it was created in 2005 by the Swedish guy, which I found out, funny enough, was one of the developers of EVE Online. Anybody plays MMOs? He's one of the developers of EVE Online. He wrote this, it's short, it's very short. It's like these like five, I think it was like 7 points or something. And basically it's saying, it's the gist of it is love who you love the way you want to. It's anti-heteronormative relationship structures, meaning that it is anti the belief of you having to be with one person and it has to be a man and a woman. And also that other relationships outside of your romantic one can also be just as important and enriching and fulfilling, like I was saying earlier. Because again, a lot of people get married and then forsake their best friends they have for 10, 20 years. Or you know what I'm saying? Like or don't add or don't enrich the relationship because of, oh no, I gotta focus on this. No, you need all those connections regardless. You get what I'm saying? Like people literally forsake people that have been through the mud with them because of a significant other, because that's what they're supposed to do. Or some people who are insecure, because that's what it is, insecure, and don't want their guy to have girlfriends or their girl to have guy friends. So
I've never heard this in my life. Okay,
but you never heard that before?
I've never heard the
Seriously?
I never heard the one you just said. That was just made up.
Oh, anarchy part. Okay, sorry, I thought you said the other part. Okay, yeah.
The only anarchy I know, I'm gonna say the only anarchy I know is Gage from Borderlands. Okay, that's the only anarchy I know. But but like I've never heard that term.
You're such a gamer, G. You're such a gamer.
I'm sorry. Borderlands is now in my veins now. I thought, anarchy, I was like, okay, we blowing up the whole house. Got it. No problem. But once you explained it, I was like, okay, that's different. How different is that from being pan?
Being pan means you are attracted to the person, not so much how they identify or their sexual orientation or their gender or what basically sex organs they were born with. There's people who can be, for example, bisexual but not bi-romantic. Right. Meaning that they just like they date once, so they can be like hetero-romantic but be bisexual, meaning that so they only want to relate with the other sex, but sexually they will fuck the same sex or other things. And pansexual means that you like the person for them.
Right.
Yeah, so you are attracted to the person, their personality, even the way they look, but it's not a structure. Like for example, like I am heterosexual and hetero-romantic, so I do not find men at all in any way, shape, form attractive. So yeah, so that's pan. Pan is literally like if I'm pan, I can be attracted to a non-binary person. I can be attracted to a trans man, a trans woman, a gay man, a lesbian woman, an intersex person, things like that. that being married and having a kid is not your end all be all. Being a husband or being a wife does not increase your value. Your stock doesn't rise just because, oh, I'm somebody's wife or somebody's husband. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
and it's more so in terms of like, it's a goal. It can be a goal, but
of course,
it does not mean it's the end of the world because you don't have that goal, because that plan may not be for you. There's certain things that people don't understand that might not be for their life. It might be something you've been praying for, asking for, who you believe in, the universe. I'll say it for right now, but the universe probably saying that's not for you. And it's not even because we're biased. It's not because we're against you. It's because you have other things to do. You have other higher callings for you. So that could be the case. I'm at that point. I'm like this close to that point of like, it might be a higher calling because it don't look like marriage for me either. But that's just me, like, living normal life and seeing what's out there. And as they said, New York is not the place to be. So I'm just like, let me just get my things together, make sure I'm okay, so that if that's for me to have, I'll be prepared for it. So I mean, I'm still at a level of carefree freedom, careless freedom. Like, I don't give a fuck if you don't not with it next. Like, that's just what it is. It's still carefree. So I understand the anarchy. I don't know if I'm that far in terms of like fuck the norms, but there's certain norms that the ABCs I'm still at. There's probably a couple of DEFs in there too, but slowly but surely we're still doing our thing and keeping it moving.
Yeah,
doing what we need to do because ourselves are important on World Mental Health Day.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, not everything is for everybody.
I think people are finding it hard to accept that because we've been conditioned to move in the direction of, yes, you grow up, you become adults, you get married, you have kids, yada, yada. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's just like everything is evolving, including the way that we think, the way that we feel, the way that we see things. Osiris was saying, it's like, it doesn't make you less of a person if it doesn't happen for you. We've been so conditioned and so ingrained to think, yo, marriage, kids, that's fine. If that's for you, then that's for you. I'm not going to take that away from you at all.
Right, it just won't be me.
Yeah, and it's like, that's okay. And people have a hard time accepting it, especially, with the pressures of those that are around you in social media. Oh, he's been with you or she's been with you that long. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting on? Not your approval. I know that. Like, what you so worried about? What's going on over here?
But I know, like, I would say half to 75% of it, you don't need it.
Right. So the only benefit of a marriage certificate is all the legal rights you get from it very easily. But you can get the same rights. It's just
power of attorney, healthcare proxy.
Yep.
Right there can easily help you get this power that marriage certificate gives.
Yeah.
Very easily. Yeah. So again, it's just little. It's just
that's what
extra
I meant.
steps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, it's slightly extra steps because think about all the states where gay marriage is still not fucking legal. You get what I'm saying? Like,
but they do all the paperwork to do it, right? No, I know, so, including wills. Don't forget the wills and all other stuff. That's all connected because we got to do it for our parents. God forbid something happens, we got to do it for them. Even guardianship. You know what I'm saying? So like that's even the case too. But I understand. I'm not saying that it's mandatory to do, but some people do it because it's easier. And in my brain is like, work smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
So whatever's smarter for you, you do that. If whichever's the ladder, we take the ladder. So I'd rather go down the ladder than up the ladder. I'm like, let's not make it harder than it needs to be. Now to my audience, my two audience members that's here with me. Have you been into the poly world?
I've been into the poly world for a minute. It started off as a learning sort of experience, and then it just kind of transformed into an actual real world experience sort of thing. I guess I've always thought I'm the type of person. My thought process has always been different. I don't take anything away from people who's prescribe to heteronormative actions. I don't take that away from anybody at all. But for me, researching into the poly world, it kind of just gave me an understanding as to the misconceptions. Like, people just think poly and they just automatically think they don't understand the building aspect. They just see it from like a sexual standpoint,
Right.
and that's not a thing. Like I have friends who are in poly relationships. This one of my homegirls, she she chose to be in a poly relationship with another man who had a girlfriend already, and they're thriving. They all know what they need to do in order to make this relationship work. It's not about the sexual aspect because yeah, he's intimate with the both of them. Never together, but he is intimate with both of them. But it's more so like they're building together. Like they're a unit. They're no different, two people that are in a relationship. They're a unit and they're working towards goals and different things. It's like the deeper I get into it, the more I'm like, yeah, I could rock with this. But as with everything, it just takes the right people.
And the right
That's just
mind.
what it is. It just takes the right people. Again, not taking away from monogamous relationships and heteronormative, nothing at all. But as with everything, it just takes the right people.
What recommendations or recommendation, it could be 1, 2, or 3, nothing crazy, do you have for someone trying poly for the first time of any kind? Poly of any kind for the first time.
Research. That's 1, 2, 3. Research. No.
All right. That's a cop out.
No. I'm gonna go deeper into it. So, like, for example, there's books. Like, a good book to start at is called The Ethical Slut. One of the first books they read when it come trying to go into life, see how it things like that. The same author of that book is a co-author of actually 2 good BDSM starting books too, called the New Topping Book and the New Bottoming Book. And yeah, but so anyway, The Ethical Slut is a good place to start. And literally, there's people online. Like, for example, I have a bunch of friends who are literally like experts who are getting scholarly articles. Like, so with people with PhDs who teach this stuff, who are advocates for this stuff, who are life coaches for this stuff. Like, one of them is Evita. Evita's a good friend of mine. Evita Loca on like most social medias, and she is a very transparent person when it comes to her, and she has a good number of partners. You get what I'm saying? Like, some long distance, some local, and she was married and has kids, and was still, her and her husband both were practicing this lifestyle in a very loving, growing way. You get what I'm saying? So there's, if you want to find it, it's definitely out there.
And once you've done the research, speaking back off of what Osiris said, once you're done, it's about being honest with yourself. Do you feel that you are emotionally intelligent enough to be able to cater to the needs of more than one person? Feelings and emotions can get into play. Jealousy is a big one. Insecurity is a big one. Because you have to be rooted. The same way some people are rooted in their sexuality, they're rooted in their confidence. You have to be rooted. Your emotions have to be rooted in order to deal with it, because if you want to take that step and put yourself in that position to deal with more than one person, you have to understand what comes with that. So yes, like they tell us when we're interests, research. You can't just go in there thinking that you have all the answers, because you don't. And sometimes, like Ethical Slut, that's a really good book. Like, it opens your eyes to a lot of shit. It does. It opens your eyes to a lot of shit. And to be honest with you, if it's not for you, then it's not for you. People kind of take this poly thing and think, oh, yeah, I could do this. I could, no. And deep down inside, they know that it's not for them. And that's okay. Yeah. If you're the type of person to try anything once and be like, okay, yep, you know what? It's not for me. You have to be honest with yourself. Don't do it just because, oh, you see it's a thing. No, it takes real work. It takes real work and real self-assessment. You know what I mean?
Honesty and communication too. A lot of honesty, trust, and communication.
Yeah, it does.
It's a lot. Like, we already struggling with just one and one, yet alone 3.
The way our society handles relationships in general, because especially us, a lot of us being from like Caribbean backgrounds, African backgrounds, even some African American backgrounds, depending. It's just the Black diaspora in general. Open communication about emotions is not a thing.
It's not a thing,
and
especially as a Black man, it's unfortunate.
That's a whole like men thing in general too, that men are not encouraged or taught, because like that's the thing, like for like people don't realize like your amygdala is where your emotions come from in your brain. Your prefrontal cortex controls your higher thought processes, right, and your thinking. So when you think, that's with them, those two parts of your brain do not interact with each other. Right. So you have to, so that's why it's so hard for people to process, express emotions, because that's literally a learned thing. It's a learned thing to be vulnerable with yourself and vulnerable with others. And if you never had to do that, because when you were a child and your child is just raw emotions, you were taught like, no, this is bad, don't act this way. Then as an adult, you kind of repress exploring those things.
If you don't follow me already on Instagram, I am on Reptar_LoveJones2, R3PTAR_LOVEJONEZ2, and we are on YouTube. Search Which Is Dating with Reptar, and we are on Facebook at Dating with Reptar. Deuces, fans. Deuces.
Oh, and you can follow me at Frankie Mermaid _ on IG.
That part, because he got all this other sexual stuff that we finna have in another conversation. Deuces, fans. Deuces.